We gotta get recording in progress. Bring that over there. Boom. All right, now we're set. All right, so thanks everyone for coming out. I appreciate it. I see some faces I've seen before, some new people I've met, some connections that we've got to people at Atlassian, which is awesome. And then awesome to see people out there on from Boise and from Columbus. So my name is Mark Cruth. I work for Atlassian. I am what we consider a modern work coach, meaning that I get to go, I have a fun job. I get to go out to events like these. I get to share a lot of our thought leadership, a lot of our ideas in terms of how teams work. And I just have a blast doing it. So first off, thank you all for coming out and joining me today. And as you would probably have seen from the description, we're getting ready to work out a little bit here. So, I love Sam because he brought, well, that was really heavy. That was not what I was expecting. He brought, right. It really was. I was like, oh, maybe this is one of those light ones, not a light one. Don't drop it on my laptop. But he brought all the stuff because guess what? We're heading to the gym today, guys. We're going to be doing a little bit of working out, and not just on our muscles, but we're going to do it on our teamwork. And so today, that's what we're going to spend some time on. And I want to basically introduce you to a concept that we released at Team 23 called team shaping. It's an aspect of practices from our team playbook. Now, a little thing, you all are the first ones to see this as a work in process kind of thing, presentation. Last year, we did a roadshow around I think we hit 24 ACE events around the world with our State of Teams Roadshow, which I saw we've got some people who are wearing State of Teams Roadshow socks in here, which is awesome. And for some of you, like I was out in Boise and we did that in person in Boise last December. And so for us, we're doing another roadshow, and it's going to be on this idea of team shaping. And you all are the first one here to see this. So I appreciate you all coming out, being the guinea pigs as we go through the content. For those in the room, I've actually got a feedback board on the wall here by the window. You're going to see we've got 4 different categories. We're using our 4 L's retrospective style. The what did you love? What did you long for? What did you learn? And what did you loathe? I'd love any feedback you have. I've got sticky notes. We'll put them out before you leave. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear it. For those out there on the phone, out there in Boise and Columbus, would love it if you could just send me some feedback too. You'll have my email of this. And again, we're going to start refining this to actually go out there and spread it across the world. So it's going to be awesome. All right, so let's get into this thing. As Patches O'Houlihan had said, if you can run a play, you can shape a team. So any dodgeball fans here? Dodgeball. Oh, man. All right, man. That's my first one out of the gate. All right, so today what we're going to be doing is I have a goal to help actually create champions out of all of you for shaping healthy teams using the Atlassian Team Playbook. Now, who here has heard of the Atlassian Team Playbook? Awesome. Most of us here, I know actually, Sam, back in, was it February, you actually ran a session on the My User Manual, which is out of the playbook, which was awesome. And so today I actually want to introduce you to some more concepts from that. Now, as we're going about today, we are going to the gym, right? We've got our stuff in hand. So I want to make sure I kind of give you some lay of the land. What are we going to cover today? So first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to head out to the reception of our gym, and we're going to talk a little bit about where we've been, what's gone on, what is team shaping, what's this playbook that I'm talking about, and then from there we're going to start the workout. We're going to start with this idea of a team poster, hit the treadmills with that. We'll then move over and actually, grab some weights, and we'll look at roles and responsibilities. We'll then move over and actually hit the bikes with working agreements. And then finally, we're going to head down and actually grab some dumbbells and do our network teams. So this is going to be essentially how we're going to run our day. So with that said, let's hit the gym. You all ready? Ready to pump it up? Yeah, there you go. That's what I want to hear. All right, so let's enter into our gym. So here we're at reception. There's a couple things we got to think about. So first thing that's going to happen is we actually got to get to know each other a little bit. We actually got to stretch a little bit too. This is the first thing we're going to do when we get started. So here's what we're going to do is I actually want us to do an activity. I know many of us are still eating in here, so I'm just going to have to get you up and then you'll go back to your eating. But what we're going to do, and for those on the phone, you're going to use me as your person for this. We're going to do a game called Mirror Mirror. what I'm going to do is we're going to find a partner. So let's all go ahead, find who's going to be our buddy in here. And you're going to have 3 buddies because it looks like we got 2, 2, 3. You all can be buddies. Now, what you got to do, and then on the phone, I'm going to break you. I will be your buddy. I will be your buddy. Now, what's going to happen is I want you to all pick a leader. So who's going to be the leader of your group, of your duo or your triad? All right, we got our leaders. All right. So leaders, when I say go, you're going to start stretching. We're going to get up. We're going to start stretching. So we're all going to need to stand up. Those on the phone, I encourage you to do the same. And followers, you are going to mirror your leaders stretching back to them. You got to anticipate what they're going to be doing, all right? So you got to be watching their every move, all right? And we're going to be doing this for 60 seconds, okay? All right, for those on the phone, I am your leader. So your time starts now. Let's get some stretching in. All right, keep going. Gotta really get those muscles, ready to go. This is gonna be hard for you on the phone. Let's see here. All right. Don't fall over, people. Don't fall over. All right, so I'll do another swing stretch. Let's do a reach. 30 more seconds. Keep getting that stretches in, folks. 30 more seconds. We're gonna do. This is a hard one. We do the lunge. Sorry. I'm sorry for those on the phone. All right. Get it in. 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. All right. One more. All right. Almost there. Feeling pretty limber now. Stretch it out. All right. That's time. Good work, everybody. Good work. Y'all stretched out. Give yourself a round of applause. Nice work. Nice work. And thank you for those on the phone. I hope that worked out well. Did y'all get some stretching in? Oh, yeah. All right, good. All right, so I run this exercise because, it's a great demonstration of being present with your teammates. It's all about being in that moment. You're going to see how that plays out as we go through this. So I think we're good here. We can take care of our clipboard. So let's go ahead and actually see what else is here in reception with us. So I think I actually want to spend some time talking a little bit about our gym history. So let's actually go take a look. So here in the gym, I want to kind of tell you about where we've been. This is going to be our walk down memory lane so that you kind of know where things like this idea of team shaping has come from. So just to give you some context, back in 2016, this idea of a team playbook launched. And for those of you who hadn't heard about it, this was essentially a set of practices from Atlassian that we follow every day to help us work better in our teams. And what we decided to do back in 2016, we were like, why are we holding this to ourselves? Like, let's actually share this with the world. And so today there's actually a series of approximately, I think, 51 different practices, different plays, we call them, that are available in the team playbook. And everything from things like my user manual, which we ran here a few months ago, to things like, retrospectives, a DAISY, health monitor is a big one. But we've got a ton of different practices that if you're looking for a way to improve your team's ways of working, there's probably something for everything in there. Now, this was something that was released again in 2016, and so it's been out there, and it kind of went on the back burner a little bit for a few years as we just kind of let it sustain. And so over the last few years, we've actually started to reinvest in the idea of how do we really focus on our practices. And the big thing came about that actually started triggering a lot of our recent focus was actually back in 2021 when we put out our State of Teams report. So who here has heard about our State of Teams? Awesome. So we got the beautiful thing about that is now we're going to have everyone that knows about the State of Teams, right? So State of Teams is actually a research report that we do biannually, kind of looking at teamwork around the world. We actually work with a third party to collect data. It's not necessarily Atlassian user data. It's just general knowledge worker data to kind of understand a couple different elements of teamwork. And one of those elements is this idea of team health. And so for us, when we think about a healthy team, we're actually looking at a couple different attributes. We're looking at things like, are team members engaged on a team? Are they actually getting shit done on a team? Are they performing? Is the climate or what we consider maybe the culture sustainable, good on that team? And it ultimately is all of that they're doing sustainable, or are they trying to burn that candle at both ends? And so for us, we started looking at this idea of team health. And some of the interesting findings we've had coming from this is back in 2021, when we first ran this, we saw 17% of teams were actually healthy, which that's kind of scary. But what was really scary was that almost 30% of teams were unhealthy, meaning that they really weren't doing good on any of those attributes. There was poor or very poor as they're returned at when they returned their surveys saying for those attributes. Now in 2022, last fall, we reran this again. We started to see some things. So the first thing we saw was that the number of unhealthy teams dropped, which was really good to see. We're like, all right, people are doing a little bit better. We're not as unhealthy as we were before. We did see a giant spike in partially healthy teams, meaning people are saying, we're getting by. And then finally, what was really kind of scary was we actually saw a drop, actually not even a small drop, a significant drop, 4% in healthy teams. And so I always like to ask this question. It was like, what do you think in our world is kind of resulted, maybe just think about your context, has resulted in a drop like that in healthy teams? What could be attributed to that?
Working at home.
Working at home? Think we kind of feeling that disconnection, maybe a little loneliness there, right? I know that's actually, they're talking about that as the Surgeon General is recommending some practices around loneliness right now because people are struggling with connection. What other things?
Maybe people just felt more comfortable being honest about their teams.
I like that. You're right. They might be saying, you know what, are we really doing well? Are we really in a good spot? What else? And there's no right or wrong answers. I just love hearing what people think on this one.
There's been a lot of job mobility and layoffs and things like that. And I think that when you rearrange teams, you go to a different dynamic.
100% every time. And I think that's, to me, I think a really big thing here is all of a sudden we saw probably there was aspects of what was the Great Resignation and stuff like that happening. And now people have moved into new teams. And so a lot of teams are just okay. Like they're finding their stride, but they're like, we're still trying to figure out how we actually work together. And the actual number of healthy teams has actually gone down because we're getting a little bit more honest about that. So yeah, I think all of those are spot on because I think and for us, that's actually been a fascinating thing for us. We're like, how do we actually unlock that other 87%? Because that's ultimately what it is. If we're, if that many teams are out there are struggling, there's got to be some simple things we can do to actually help that. And that's actually what brought it. Oh, I forgot I had this slide. This is actually the State of Teams report. I should swap those around as my own feedback for myself. So if you want to go learn about all the insights there, yeah.
Just, I mean, we're already past that, but so the amount of teams that went from unhealthy to partially healthy is bigger than what the other way around, from healthy to partially unhealthy. So it could be that it's just a transition.
It could be where all of a sudden you see as you go through there. Oh, I hate it when it does the build. But yeah, you kind of see where it's potentially that you see that transition coming here, where all of a sudden I feel like we've actually taken care of some of the unhealthy teams, which is good. Like we're stabilizing a little bit. And then the thing is now how do we prevent this from going back down? How do we get I'd love to see this start in our 2023 run. How can we get that like doubling? Because all of a sudden we're figuring out how we team together better, right? Amen to that. All right, so State of Teams, if you want to check it out, wholly recommend it. But that really brings us to now what we're talking about here today. And so this year, back 2 weeks ago, we had our big team event in Vegas. And so there's a bigger announcements. We talk about all the new product updates, things like that. Well, one of the things we released is this idea of team shaping. And what team shaping is it's actually a set of 4 different plays that we've intentionally kind of coupled together in our playbook to help you essentially help a team get this idea of shared understanding, meaning we're on the same page, we're aligned, because that's one of the biggest things that we've seen out there talking with teams is that teams just don't know what each other, they're just not on the same page. One team thinks this, another team member thinks that. So how could we help do that to help unlock some of that, some of those potentially healthy teams to get them into the healthy state? And so today I actually want to talk about those 4 different plays. So we're like I said, we're going to hit the treadmill, we'll hit the bench, we'll go to the bike and then hit the dumbbells, and we're going to review each of these. So we're going to have our team poster, we're going to have that roles and responsibilities, the working agreements, and the network of teams. And so I'll share with you about what each of those are, but we're also going to do some activities across each one to hopefully solidify some of the ideas there. So ready? Want to jump in now to the gym? All right, I think we can move on now from our reception hall. So let's go ahead and actually do this. All right, so let's head over to the treadmill here where we're going to be talking about Team Poster. Now, with Team Poster, the analogy I like to use with this one is that many times we've got a team and we think that we're all aligned. We all think we're going towards the same target there. The reality, though, is that most of the time it looks like this. There's actually a couple different targets, and we're all kind of going to those different targets. We think we're going to the same target, but we don't have that clarity. We don't have that shared understanding. So our goal is like, how do we get this? How do we kind of funnel those ideas together? How do we make sure we all really are going to the same target? And the way we do that is through this idea at Atlassian of a team poster. So what I love about a team poster is it purely is a page where teams can come together and share what they're working on. They can share who they are. They can share their goals. They can share what success looks like, but essentially a place for teams to actually come together and say, this is who we are. Now, some of the things that we'll actually include on a team poster, and what's beautiful is that there's a template out there online, so you can actually use this if you use Confluence. You can find the team poster template. Again, we'll do things to like links to your team directory in Atlas. We'll go to your team member information. We talked about my user manuals a few months ago. A lot of people will put my user manuals linked right there with your team information. And then the big things we talk about is what problems are we trying to solve? Who are our actual customers? Because sometimes we're not clear on who that is, especially if we're internal teams. And then how we're going to measure success and what solutions do we offer? So for us, it's all about trying to get that all on the table. Because again, a lot of times we make assumptions about that. Now, if you go out to the playbook, you're going to get a chance that you'd see this. You go through team poster, be able to try this all out. It can be about a 60-minute exercise. We're not going to do that exercise here because it's a 60-minute exercise. But we are going to go out there and do an exercise. We got to do a workout. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an exercise called Sell It To Me. This is one where we've got to get essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? We have to get resolute in what we're trying to do and what we're trying to sell. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break us into groups. And what we're going to all do is we're going to look around and we're going to find an object that's close to us. And then for those on the phone, I want you all to just grab something at your desk. What do you see? And I'm going to break everybody into groups of 2 or 3. And I want you to essentially spend 2 minutes together, 1 minute per person. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to sell that object to the other person. And what I want you to do is when you do it, you need to answer 3 questions. You need to say, well, what's the problem that this thing solves? What's the ideal, why is this thing the ideal solution? And then how would you actually measure the success? How would you know this was the ideal solution? So does that sound good? You guys like it? All right, so find your objects. Those on the phone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break us into breakout rooms, and I'm going to have you all do that. So maybe grab a screenshot of the page if you need to, and then I will go ahead and actually I'm going to grab this and then put it in the chat for y'all. And then what I'm going to do, so those in the room, find your objects if you have one already. And then for those on the phone, I'm going to go ahead and break you into breakout rooms. Automatically assign. We're going to go to, I think, how many do we have out there right now? We've got, so I will do 2, automatically assign. And so I'm going to move to group 2. All right, so I'm going to go open up breakout rooms. Your time will start. We've got and actually now we can break into even groups here. I will see you all in 2 minutes on the phone. All right, so your 2 minutes starts now. Find your partner. Time to sell. What are you trying to sell?
I just selling my rocket book.
I know, right? I was thinking you need to sell the rocket book to somebody in here. What's the problem? Yeah. What's the problem?
What is the problem? The problem is when you handwrite stuff, it's actually better for you to process the information. But then getting it into electronic format.
Some other way to write it down.
So.
We don't know. It's the only way to not work. Write it out easily. Yeah.
No.
Why can't I get that?
Yes, you did. But you see, it's really.
Yeah.
I know. So it's more like writing.
How do you think it's been
Right. There's writing that starts with these names in your brain.
Because well,
So you actually remember the things that you write. It's much more easier than you type. Even if you never look at your
But
notes.
what, you don't have any, right?
That's when you buy it.
I know, better, more material. Oh, that's true. They can't have to be money.
I buy, I actually
Yes, you can.
put into this fence. So you don't have to.
I'm only
buy
just
another
starting.
fence.
Oh, I know, come on, I know, you're just gonna give it back. Oh, I'm trying to think. No, it's first. I'm sure you can have it.
All right, that's 1 minute in. Let's switch if we haven't already.
Alcohol is a solution. In modern. Long day at work. Difficult people on your team, difficult clients, right? Sit back, you loud chair in your house, and I something like this.
But then I have to make it.
You know, just sleep to the birds. Have better weight. You're allergic to alcohol. It's not the same thing to alcohol. It's toxic. I think it's. Is it really? Are you allergic to alcohol?
Make him the money.
Well.
All right, a few more seconds.
If you actually. How are you gonna do? Put this in a saucepan, heat it up, and the alcohol out. Then put it back into a glass. And you got it. The opposite way better.
All right, let's bring it in, folks. Let's bring it in. I can hear those passionate sellers out there. I love it. I love it. All right, so nice work, everybody. I just want to say that I heard some. I mean, Sam was in here trying to sell alcohol. I mean, my God. I mean, I wanted a drink after that. You know.
All right.
I know, right? All right, so let's hear it. What were so I heard of Sam's object. So Sam was trying to sell alcohol. How did that? Did you do a good job? Did you want a drink afterwards?
Somewhat, yes. Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I don't drink, so he was doing a good.
He was
job.
doing a good job knowing his audience, right?
So we were probably, you know.
But I did know what I was looking to it. He had a solution for that.
There you go. He had a solution.
So,
What were some of the other objects that people were trying to sell?
I tried to sell this napkin.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, I just told him he had food on his face.
I mean, my God, that was great. That was great. I love it. How about on the phone? What were some of the things we were trying to sell out there?
Oh, well, I was trying to sell tarot cards, but I was in the middle of my pitch when it ran out.
Oh, who was your partner on that one?
Kimberly.
Kimberly, what were you feeling about those tarot cards? Were you about ready to buy some?
I mean, I think Blizzard products are pretty awesome. So yeah, I'd totally throw down on that. So.
I love it. I love it. So, all right. So what, fun little game here, but why do you think I would run this when we talk about Team Poster? What do you think? What comes to mind is like, why would Mark pick this game? Yeah.
And that's how we sell our team. On a team poster.
It's how you part of the thing is you got to have that resolute belief. Like, what are we doing and how do we actually articulate that? Right. Love that. What else?
A clear mission statement helps people focus on what they're supposed to be doing.
Love that. Yes. I mean, and honestly, one of the things I was at a customer, and one of the things that they were talking about is they modified the team poster. And what they've done is that when their teams spin up a new space for like a project or even just the team itself, this is the homepage in Confluence for them. And what they do is they put it all there. So that way everyone can see that mission. Everyone goes there. And so when they log into their Confluence space, they'll go there, they'll see it, and they're like, okay, cool. It's kind of like the I don't have a sign here, but it's the believe sign, from Ted Lasso. It's hitting that sign right there. That's what it is. Like, all right, we've got something we're focused on. So I always like that game because it's a simple thing. You can do it in a couple of minutes, and you can kind of bring home that point of like, all right, do we all believe in what this is? Like, and especially if you were to take this and say everyone's got to do it for the same thing, maybe what we do as a team. Good job. We finished our first workout. Nice work, team. starting to get our, starting to lose, kind of have to catch our breath a little bit after that one, right? Maybe stretch that a little bit more. So but first let's go over, we're going to start doing some weight training, and we're going to talk about roles and responsibilities. So when it comes to roles and responsibilities, I want to tell you about this scenario. So again, we talked about how a team poster and this idea brings us together, helps narrow us in on the target. But when we think about the roles that we have on our teams, sometimes it's a little bit of this, we don't know who does what. It's more of just the nebulous set of like, we've got to do this stuff. But the thing is in order to build a shared understanding, what we've actually got to do is we've actually got to bring clarity to like, who's accountable for what, who needs help from which people. And so what we need to do is figure out where those different responsibilities go. And for us in roles and responsibilities, it's trying to figure out like, how do we actually want to actually work together through understanding our roles? Now, what I love about roles and responsibilities, has anyone ever done like a version of some sort of roles and responsibilities play before? Probably probably at some level, we probably all have, whether it be like, what do you do? Like, what are the things you work on? And the thing I really love about this play is that it allows us to bring out assumptions, because one of the things we do is when we do a roles and responsibilities, we'll talk about them and say like, all right, I'm this role and this is what I do. And I'm this role and this is what I do. And we kind of lose sight of, well, what does other people think we do? And so one of the cool things about this, and you'll actually see this on this page here, is what we'll do is we'll list out the roles. And then the first thing we actually do is spend time actually having other people say, what do they think you do? I'm the team lead. What does my team think I do as the team lead? Then I come in and say, well, here's what I actually do. And here's what I think I do. Because then you can start figuring out where there's discrepancies. And again, you're getting that shared understanding. It's about, now you haven't just dispelled saying, hey, this is what I do. And I think he also does this too. We've actually agreed that these are the things, this is where it comes together. And so when you actually look at this, again, we'll go through, we'll identify the roles, we'll determine what others think, we'll share what we think. And then the big thing here is that we identify the gaps, and we'll actually identify what roles or what responsibilities need to be filled. Because sometimes we'll have things that we're like, I thought you did that. No, I don't do that. Well, now we've got to figure out who does that. So roles and responsibilities are a really fun exercise to be able to figure out that, because it's such an impactful thing that many teams miss out on. Now, if you go out to the play, you can go out there and try this out. Again, 60 minutes. Again, Confluence template out there that you can use. Really easy to go through and actually do this exercise. Now, for us, actually in a future iteration of this, I think we're going to do some gamified version of roles and responsibilities to actually have people do this play. But for today, we're actually going to do something a little different. Today, we're going to do another workout, and I like to call this the pirate ship game. This is one of my favorite roles and responsibilities exercises. And what we're going to do is we're going to break out into groups of 2 or 3. Here we can actually do pairs, and then on the phone we'll do pairs. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this picture. You can see it on the screen, the pirate ship, and there's all these characters with all these numbers on there. And what I want you to do is I want you to identify which number or numbers you think best represent your role at work and why. Like, what is it? Like, are you number, like sometimes I say, I'm number 1. I'm out there with the flag. I'm actually going out, like sharing everything with everybody. But then sometimes I'm number 9, kind of holding it together. What is it that you're feeling? And what do you think your roles are? So for those on the phone, I've got handouts for here in the room, but for those on the phone, if you go to that bit.ly link, you just got to type it. I'll put it in the chat too. That will bring you up to the page that actually has the picture. So you can actually have that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you all 3 minutes. I'd love it if you have that conversation. Talk a little bit about, what roles do you think, what numbers represent what you do in your organization, and why? Because I think that's the fun one. Why? All right, folks, let me go ahead. I'm going to throw this in the chat for you all, and then we're going to put you into a breakout rooms. All right, and breakout rooms are now open.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, maybe that's right. Yeah, that's also what I do. I'm not looking for that one. I definitely feel like yeah.
Oh, no.
I see you go with this one, but I'm still chasing. I feel like, I don't know, this guy looks like he's either getting sick, I don't know, maybe he's pulling stuff out. I feel like that's kind of the thing, like trying to get. Yeah, that's a good one too. I can see that. I'm just trying to make sure.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm doing some kind of call up. People are doing it from skull to me at least.
Okay.
And so it's good and easy to see some of that success. You know, learning the creative.
I'm just making a little work.
I have to feel.
I missed that.
Yeah, it really takes a notice like that. Got this big shift like that.
Potentially not.
Yeah.
Trying to move.
You like UX? I love it.
Maybe that's not. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
All right, take about another minute, folks. Take about one more minute.
Let's try this.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sometimes get it.
I think he's.
Talk this to climbing the.
So wait, if you're in my class.
I was just afraid. That could go with that. I said, no, I'm. Maybe as I read the recording, I was like.
Yeah, maybe there was.
And, but the thing about that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Wait, I thought this was a basketball. It was not a basketball. I know, right? I did not see the 10. I know, I was gonna be like, oh, I'll bounce it up. And I was like, oh. I know they tricked me. Did you really? Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can see the equipment, right? You got the treadmill desk and everything.
One day. Chilling, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna close all our rooms. We're gonna bring us back over here, folks. All right, I think we're getting everyone back. All right, so I always love this exercise because you start hearing I love the stories that get told about it. So I'd love to hear, what were some of the numbers that came up for you that you think, this is me and why? Like, what were some of the numbers? Yeah.
I think it was number 2, was like the lookout.
Yeah.
I'm making sure we're going in the right direction and communicating when we're steering off course. I felt like I was steering, but I was like, really the client steers, so we just go where they want. But
They're out here somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You're just watching where they're going, making sure.
Steering, and I was
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That.
you have for months to get this stuff on track.
Shore's coming up. Shore's coming up.
Thank you, whatever we do. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. What other numbers?
8 and 9.
8 and 9. Here, let's find ourselves. We got 8, and then we've got, where's my 9 at over here? Oh, 9. Tell me about 8 and 9.
I'm pulling up the anchors and holding on for dear life.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, right, okay.
What other ones are out there?
I had a mix between 18 and 15.
Ooh,
And a
18
little bit of 6.
and 15. Where's our 15 at? Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Tell me about 15.
So I didn't take it as like pushing the shit back, but kind of redirecting it in like the most inefficient way.
We're going over there like, oh no.
I can't so the steering, but I can control.
You can help guide it from
Yeah.
down below, right?
Exactly.
I love that because that's the thing. You see some of these and it's stuff like 15 and 17 and stuff like that. People are like, a lot of people wouldn't actually take them in a negative perspective. And I love that because some person I've had said 17, they're like, yeah, they're not actually firing at the boat, they're firing at something over here that's in our way. And I was like, oh, I love that, because the thing is we all do different roles. I still have not found someone who does 19 yet. So I need to find
How about 20?
Get eaten by sharks.
I want to hear 20. Was your 20?
No, we were.
No, 20. This one was, they were talking about strategy. Which I laughed a little bit.
Okay.
I know, right? How about on the phone? Any numbers that resonated with those on the phone?
I picked number 2.
Number 2, tell me more.
Yeah, well, my former role, I was part of risk management team, and so spent quite a bit of time kind of looking for potential risks, things that are on the horizon, trends, kind of themes that were out there. So being able to see a little bit ahead of kind of upcoming regulatory needs, and so that we can quickly pivot and adjust the team accordingly.
I love that. It's again, he's looking out ahead and trying to help guide the rest of the ship. So, I mean, to me, one of the reasons I love this game is that when you even the Atlassian play, which it's a good play, but it's still kind of like bland. And so when we start thinking about roles and responsibilities, the most exciting topic in the world, right? When we think about this, I like to actually add a little spice in here. And by using something like this exercise, because what it allows you to do is that we think about our team as a ship, and we say as a team, we say, all right, what are all the things that we're doing on like all these roles in the ship? And we find out what we're all playing. And then we ask the question, what numbers are there that we're not doing that we think we should be doing? And you start kind of identifying some of these responsibilities. You can then take that and put it in the form of like the roles and responsibilities play. But I absolutely love it as a mechanism to get people thinking creatively around their work, because sometimes we get locked in into a little trench, and we're like, we have a hard time looking at like, oh, I also do that too. This is a creative way to bring it out. Good work, everybody. All right. So, we've made it through 2 pieces of equipment so far. So I think it's time to hit up the 3rd one. So let's go get on the bike. I think, do we got a bike in here? What I need to do is
like a water break or
I know, you know what? Not in this gym. Not in this gym. I take what's the like Orange Theory and stuff. You got to go like a strict like 45 minutes straight. That's what this is. So working agreements. So taking us back to our story here. So within a working agreement, again, a lot of times, yeah, we might know our roles and responsibilities. We might be aligned on our goal. But the thing is we're all individual people on here. We all bring different perspectives to what we're doing. And we've got to find out how we work together, because although we might have goals and although we might have assigned responsibilities, it doesn't mean that we're going to get work done as a team. We might still be doing things as individuals. So we've got to figure out what this looks like. We might do things like figure out how we connect together as people. We might go through and say, well, this is how we're going to communicate. This is how we'll chat. Or we may even do things like, here's how we want to improve together. And for us, this is where a working agreement comes into play. And for me, I actually think working agreements are probably the most critical artifact that any team can put in place. Even if like, I want you to do all 4 of those things, but if you did one, do a working agreement, because it's all about doing things like identifying those things. I like to say it's the implicit things, the things that we assume that everyone's on the same page of, but most of the time are not. It's bringing those out in the open. It's making that explicit. And so it could be things like communication channels, but it also could be things like our preferences, our team member preferences. This is when I usually come into work each day, or like I usually have to leave at this time because I've got kiddos. Or it could be things like, what kind of meetings and rituals are we going to have, and what are our expectations for each other? Maybe how we escalate issues. And then, like I said, continuous improvement. How do we want to get better as a team? It's basically an ability for us to say, hey, this is what we're agreeing to for how we want to work better together. And so for me, when we do a working agreement, it's all about going in and again, coming up with a way, almost like a codex for how we want to collaborate, because now we all refer to it. And regardless of our own experiences and our perspectives, we're all saying this is how we work. And so again, working agreements, awesome exercise to get in there. Now for us, we're going to try to build our own codex here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do some interpretive drawing. I love this exercise. And what we're going to do is we're going to break up into pairs again. And here's what we're going to do is you're going to figure out who's going to be person 1, who's going to be person 2, with the speaker and then the drawer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 1 minute. And you're going to draw speakers. You're going to get a link here in a second to the special, like the secret word. It's a thing. And what you've got to do is you've got to get your drawer to draw that picture. And you can only use one word phrases to get them there. So you can say one word at a time, say this, this, this. And you can't say the word, of course. And they're going to see at the end of 60 seconds, what do we got? If we got the right thing. All right. So what I'm going to do, so get your pairs. So we'll keep our pairs on the phone, but for here, we got our pairs still. Figure out who's going to be the interpreter, or who's going to be the speaker, and then who's going to be the interpretive drawer. Oh no, I've got a word for you. And so what you're going to do is, so for those who are going to be the saying the word, I only want you to go to this link. Others don't go to it, because again, you would be not fun if you didn't. So I want you to go to this, and it's gonna bring up a Wikipedia page. Now, for those on the phone, I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in chat, so that way you have a chance to, when you decide who's gonna be the drawer and who's gonna be the writer, you can then pull that out. All right. Uh-oh, and it sounds like Jordan, you're saying that the link, the word isn't working, or the Bitly's not working for you.
The pirate ship one didn't work. It was sending us to an AWS link that
it
appeared
is
to have
link
expired.
sensitive, so check that, because if you type it in and with a lowercase letter, it will throw you to a different place. Oh, you were on some Brazilian site. All right, so that should take you then to the place. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break us in the breakout rooms. I'm going to give it just a few seconds so you can get organized there, but we're going to give you 1 minute. I've got paper and pens in the room here. Let's see here. I will whisper to you. So who's our drawer over here?
I am.
All right, we got a drawer over here.
I'm good.
You're good. All right, we got over here. We got a pen. All right, so and you guys got a pen over here? No, not yet. All right, so I'm gonna break this into groups, and then everyone got I think we don't have the word over here, but you guys.
You got the word.
You got the word?
Oh, yeah. Is it all the same word?
It's all the same word for all of y'all. That's where you're gonna get hard, because you're gonna hear other people too. So, all right. So I'm gonna break this in the breakout rooms. We're gonna try this out. All right. So breakout rooms again. Go ahead. It's open. Again, pick that drawer. Pick the speaker, and then I'll see you back here in about a minute.
Large uniform, cold, fish,
– 30 more seconds.
more water.
One word.
Oh. Oh, looks like a bird or a chicken with an animal built on.
All right, pencils down. I'm bringing everyone back together. All right. So before we say what the word is, I want us to all present just like we were in kindergarten. I want us to present our drawing. So let's see here. I want to see this drawing over here. So we got drawing number 1. For those on the phone, drawing number 1. All right. What about over here? Let's see drawing. What drawing do we have here? Ooh, there we go. Okay, drawing number 1. And what we have over here? Oh wait, okay, yours too. I love this one. This is great. This is Bridgeworthy. And what we got over here? Oh. Now, how about for the phone? I'd love to see. Hold it up on the phone if you have it out there. I want to see it. All right, let's see here. Oh, I see him. I see him. Oh, yay. All right, so what was the word? Narwhal, right? So the thing is this exercise totally failed at what I wanted it to do, but it was still fun because I wanted like a bunch of drawings to be wrong. But we're still I'm going to still have you do the second round because the second round is what's going to really hopefully make it easier. So what we're going to do in round 2, and so now we're going to switch roles. So if you were a drawer, you now will be the speaker. And what's going to happen is now I'm actually going to give you 30 seconds beforehand to talk about how you want to maybe communicate. So beforehand, I didn't give you that. You just started saying words. So is there a particular thing that you learn? Is there an agreement you want to say around how you want to like, I do this or say that? So I want to give you a chance to actually come up with a plan. All right. Those on the phone, same deal. I'm going to put this one is the same URL, but a 2 instead of a 1. So secret word 2. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. I'm going to break you into breakout rooms, again, swap roles. And then I'm going to give you 30 seconds to plan. And then I will start the minute just automatically. So you get about a minute and a half. Okay. All right. Breakout rooms are opening now. All right, so your minute and a half is starting now. Feel free to come up with your plan of attack. You've got 25 seconds. I'll give you 15 more seconds. Oh,
Okay.
She said she can't like give me a thumbs up for going. I'm good with that. I don't know. If you're wrong, I'll keep saying it. I like that.
All right, everyone come up with their communication plans. All right, your 60 seconds starts now.
Music one. Notes. Okay. Drummer. Percussion. Bells. Okay.
You got 30 seconds.
Notes. Calming. No, what's the when the boat you go down? Yes, so that's the first one. Sticks. Bars. That's what it was. Bars.
All right, I am going to close the rooms. Let's bring us together. All right, I think we're getting people back. So this is going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm kind of beta testing this. I'm really kind of curious. So how this went. So let's go ahead. Let's get the first drawing over here. All right, so drawing number 1. All right, here we go. Get our drawing. All right. What's our next one? Ooh, okay, here we go. Here we go. The camera's looking at Jeff. Oh, it is. What was yours over here? This is ours over here. All right, here we go. The whole percussion. I love it. And what we got over here? Ooh. There you go. So what was the word? Xylophone. There you go. So okay, so like I said, this is kind of fun. I love experimenting. So tell me about the difference between round 1 and round 2 for you. What was the difference? Oh, actually, no, I didn't get the online ones. Online, show me your pictures. I just realized that. I know, right? What we got right? Oh,
My
okay. We
camera
got
doesn't
looks like a guitar, and then oh, I see it now. I see it. It came up. There you go. Awesome. All right. So tell me about your experience between round 1 and round 2.
A lot better when I was talking and Kim was drumming.
Thinking on what was the best way for us to communicate ahead of time was helpful, because one word doesn't help, but and you can't say the word, but you can do things like sounds like.
Sounds like, right?
Could I just say?
All the words I'm going to say are going to sound like that word.
Yeah.
Ilophone. I like it. I like it.
When you look at your phones, I'm like an X-ray. He's like music.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. I like it. See, the thing, I only gave you the one word. It's that you only had to use one word. What other things? What other things did you do different between round 1 and round 2?
I told him what style of communication I'm used to. I told him that I'm a very concrete thinker.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to describe things metaphorically at all.
I'm gonna be matter of fact. This is what it is. Music, stick. I don't know. Actually, I have a terrible idea. I'd be terrible at this game. I really would be.
And then when he drew it, I said yes.
See, that was clever. Like when I get it right, I will say that, right? Who would have thought that something like that? How about on the phone? What were your thoughts?
We rules lawyered you, Mark. You didn't say we had to follow the rules from the first slide. So we decided that absolute direct communication of our needs was and the project was what we wanted to do for our communication. And I told him I wanted a xylophone drawn.
You know what? Well done, because you're right. Because beforehand, I put an arbitrary rule out there and I didn't actually lay that on the second time. And so you basically said, you know what? We're going to come up with our own communication pattern and we're going to be very direct with each other. I love that. I love that. So I do this exercise because of just exactly what we talked about with working agreements, is that a working agreement can do the exact same thing. It's saying, how do I want to be communicated to? What I like to be pragmatic, or what are the actual rules that we want to play by as a team? So that's why I absolutely love doing those, because they are that impactful. Good work. I think next time I might swap around the things, because that was, I think the xylophone was probably harder. Would you say? Than the narwhal. Yeah. And I want the first one to be hard, like just inside baseball. I want the first one to be hard, and then the second one to not be as hard, kind of thing. So
I think one of the things I realized about me and Sam getting it wrong was that even though we set up our style of communication, we used it, it wasn't the most effective way to work.
Ooh, what would you have changed? That's a great thing to like. So now that you tried something, what would you change the next time?
Right.
Well, you're like nothing. I like it.
I probably would have said, if it's not working for you, give me some indication back.
Oh, I like that. And I think that's actually a thing about a working agreement. Again, as one of my favorite artifacts is that it is a living and breathing document. When it is not working for you, you say, hey, it's not working. Let's change. You guys want to change it? And we change it. So I love that.
And vice versa too, because he was watching me draw.
Yeah.
I was trying to guess the words. So if I was veering off the right track, he could see it and he could have,
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you could be like, right. Yeah. Or you go like this, say, hey, you know what? We're going to set the rules being like, I'll just tell you what I want. And those are little things. You start figuring that out. I love it. All right. So, let's hit our last station for today. So the last station we're going to hit up is going to be, we got to do that last bit of weight training here. And we're going to do what we call a network of teams. So we're going to go a little meta now compared to our prior analogies. So as we were looking at the team, now we're going to actually go up a level and say, well, there's actually a lot of teams out there. And honestly, our goal is autonomous teams that are highly aligned. We want our teams to be working in the same direction. But the thing is this picture is not reality. This picture is basically saying that all these things are happening in parallel and there's no real intersection. The reality is that the way we work looks more like this. intersections here and there. Every now and then we need something. And what we find is that some of these intersections are okay. Some of the relationships that we have are actually fine. Like they're positive there. We've got good relationships. Sometimes we have those teams where, we get by, they usually can help us out, but, we don't really have any formal way of working. And then there's those relationships that we do our best to avoid. We're like, no, I don't want to ask for that. Can we do a workaround? And I think we've all probably experienced something like that where we're like, it's a poor relationship. We don't have a good mechanism in place. And for us, that's where a network of teams come into play. Because one of the things that we acknowledge is that teams themselves can't get work done on their own anymore. It just can't happen. And so what we've got to do is we have to say, how do we then identify the relationships, those other teams we need, and nurture those relationships so that when dependencies come up, we actually know how to handle those. So the network of teams is actually, it's a play that we've got a Trello template for. And so this is an example of a Trello template for this. And it's basically going through and it's allowing teams to say, hey, when we think about the next 6 months, what teams are we going to need to work with? Which teams are essentially critical to our success do we think is there? And we're going to look at all the teams we interact with. What teams maybe are just involved in our success? And start delineating what those are. Because ultimately in the end, what we're going to do is we're going to identify which of these critical teams are the ones that we really need to focus on. So as we think about network of teams, one of the big things that we'll say is that when you identify those critical teams, you actually want to identify the top 5. Because the thing is, if you have 15 critical teams in there, you're not going to be able to maintain all those relationships, at least right off the bat. So start with what are your top 5 and then focus on those. My team actually ran this back in January when we were on an offsite, and we identified. So my group is part of our customer-facing side of the organization, and we work with a bunch of different teams. In particular, we work with the community team, the group that organizes all of this. We work with our university team, some of our product teams, and we actually identified that our community relationship wasn't the best. We're like, that's a critical team, and we put it on as a yellow, and that kind of relationship. We said, it's getting by. And so what we did is we then went and assigned people out to each of those critical relationships. I actually took the relationship with our community team. So I meet with our community leader every 2 weeks, the person who runs community, to figure out how do we work better together. When things come up, now we can say, hey, we've got a mechanism to help support that. And then ultimately, what we want to do is then kind of continue to monitor the strength of that relationship. Now, every 6 months or so, we're going to run this again because the work that we're doing shifts every little bit. Sometimes we're not going to be working with community as much. So we want to use this to kind of identify that. Now, if you go out there, this is one of 2 new plays that actually have just been brand new released onto the team playbook in the last month. So if you've been to the playbook and you're like, I haven't seen that, it's probably because it's just brand new out there. So go check it out. We've actually got a Miro template, or no, it's a mural template that's there for it as well. There will be soon a Atlassian whiteboard. So if you use Confluence Cloud, you probably heard about whiteboards coming out, which is our whiteboarding solution that'll have a template there too. But it's a really fun exercise to actually, again, focus in on who do we need around us to actually get work done. Now, on that note, we're going to do one last exercise, and we're going to do a little bit of speed networking. So some of us probably know each other, some of us don't. And for me, I think a big part of like these sorts of events is one, getting to know people, but then also finding out how we can build our relationships. So what's one thing that can help that you can do that could help somebody? And then what's one thing that you could use help with? So I want you to go around, and I'm going to put in a couple rounds here. We'll do 3 rounds of 2 minutes each. Introduce yourself to each other. Say, who you are, where you're, what's your role, where you're located. And then what I want you to do is, again, favorite summertime activity, share that. And then what's that one thing that you could help someone with? And then what's one thing that you could use some help with? Maybe you find a kindred spirit. Maybe you find someone you can help with. All right. Now, for those on the phone, we've got 4 people out there. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put you all in one group. And you all can do this over the course of the next 5 minutes is have this conversation. So, all right. So find your first buddy. If you have, you can even have your current buddies here. And then what we'll do is, of course, we're going to swap you around. All right. So I'm going to open up the breakout room. I'm going to move everyone to group room 1. And there we go. So go ahead. Those are the questions out there. And We'll see you on the phone in about 5 minutes. Those in the room, go ahead. Start meeting each other. I'll let you know when we got to switch.
Okay.
Yeah. across here. I'll be on
That one is
One more minute, folks, for this first round.
Some good, I don't know, right?
And developed by the Michigan, yeah. I just.
Yeah. Boards on the meeting. That's take notes in the meeting.
15 more seconds.
Yeah, that's we just started.
Yeah.
So, that's a great idea. Yeah, just notes.
All right, time to switch. Find a new partner. 2 more minutes. Find someone you don't know. That's my goal. I'm gonna bring you guys up. Partners.
To an extent. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I mean. The original, I said yes. It's okay. So. Yeah. It's fun. It's pretty nice. That's pretty good. Thank goodness. Yeah.
And goodness.
Right. So what are you gonna do? That's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Now probably have one of those right.
One more minute.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I would help with. Terrible. Absolutely.
That's true. And I'm not even that great. That's what we know. That's good. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, that's funny. I didn't grow up. So. Right. So what are you gonna? Not like life. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's 2 minutes. Time to switch one more time. Find a new partner.
Yeah. You can probably definitely take a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah.
Did they already? Let's switch to you guys. They've already gone together. Can you guys
They don't want to play.
They don't want to play. There we go. We'll bring you guys together. Maybe you'll learn something new about each other.
One thing
Yeah, so.
One more minute. One more minute. All right, let's go ahead. Let's grab our seats. I'm bringing everybody back. I hope we all made some new friends or learned something about people we already know. I love it. I love it. Got the handshake and everything. Perfect. All right, so let me go ahead. We'll bring this back together here. So for me, I'll just say I like doing that kind of activity because one, even if we work together, which I know we got a number of people here who know each other, hopefully you found something out about somebody that maybe you didn't know, and maybe you might be able to use their help. Or you've learned about something that someone that can help with, or you know someone who needs help that maybe you can connect to somebody else you talk to. Like that's the biggest goal of this. Just like in our network of teams where our goal is building the relationships and it's understanding where we can help each other. Same thing goes within our teams too. So if you want to help your teams also do that, great exercise to run. So with that said, folks, gym day 1, it's done. It's in the game. Good job. Good job. Well done. Well done. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. I love it. So we've done it. We made it through the gym. So I like to say this though, and they need to put this in every gym, I feel. Dysfunction is the gap between what you know and what you apply. So we were just at the gym for a day, right? We stretched some muscles. We know what we got to do. Tomorrow, if we go back to our teams, if we don't do that, a little dysfunctional, if you ask me, right? So our goal is now that we know what we can do to help our teams, let's go out there and do it. Let's go stretch those muscles. That's how we get in shape. That's how we help shape our teams. So a couple of things you can do as we leave here today. So first thing is if you want to go deeper into team shaping, we've actually just put out a 30-minute university course on it. It's on YouTube. It's also on university where it's free and you can go and learn about how to facilitate each one of these plays. So as I talked about those high-level plays, you learn more about them, but also learn the tips and tricks of how to do it. So if you want to run a working agreement, we've got a video in there. It's 6 minutes long. It gives you a bunch of tips and tricks on how to run that. So definitely go check that out. And we'll make sure these slides are available to everyone afterwards. So you don't have to worry about grabbing codes or anything right off the bat. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to go out there and use and share the team playbook. Again, great resources out there. And the beautiful thing is they're not big. They're all 60 minutes long, roughly. So if your team is struggling a little bit, take a look, see if maybe something might actually hit the spot, and maybe use that for your next retrospective instead of just asking the same old questions every time. And then finally, for those in the room, make sure you get your exclusive team shaping trading cards, which I have up here in the front of the room. These are basically going to give you, these are little cards we've got that have the play and a link to the play on the back. So make sure you grab some of these. These are going to be rarities. They'll probably be like Pokemon at some point. They'll start collecting them all. That's my goal. I gotta get like foil wrappers and start putting together like packages. I've already told my boss I want to do that. So grab some of these. You can grab as many as you like. Our goal is to spread it out there. So people are like, what's working agreement? They take a scan. They're like, huh, and this might work. That's our goal. So with that said, folks, go hit the showers. Nice work. Nice work. So thank you all so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you those for on the phone too. So I'll open up if there's any questions or anything like that, anything that, especially this being first run of this, any feedback too. I'd love any of it.
What size group do you think you would present this to? Because with the last, we had a challenge of running into people.
Right, you knew before.
So
It's one of those things where,
yeah,
I think for us, we want to, I think that was a good observation I didn't think about when we were putting this together. And so we'll have groups anywhere probably between this size, but then also potentially up to 60 people. And so like something like a 60 people, this could be a really good exercise to run with, right? Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Other questions, feedback, things like that.
Just sign over the door that says believe.
I know, right? Everyone hits on their way out. I'm literally going to get a sticky note and write it on there. And then I just need you all to hit that on your way out. Okay. That's going to be the goal. That's going to be like part of the props I'm going to have to make for this.
that'd be a 3D printing.
I know, right? See, there we go. We got someone who does 3D. Well, again, just thank you all so much for your time. And then again, grab some cards. For those out there on in the cloud, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this worked out well. Again, please send me some feedback. You've got my email address right here. I'd love to hear something. And then for those in the room, I've got sticky notes. And again, if you just are thinking about something, we've got those love, long for, learned, and loathed. If you have any of those that you'd like to share, go ahead, grab a sticky and throw it up there. And yeah,
I just want to get a picture of everyone virtually.
Yes. Let's get that. So I'll actually bring that up and then we can get everybody here, right?